Let me begin with a truth that may shake you, but also set you free. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay. Some people come into your world to teach you lessons, to test your strength, and sometimes to show you exactly what you don't need. And while that realization can feel heavy, it's also one of the most liberating discoveries you'll ever make. Because the greatest act of self-love is not in how loudly you cheer for yourself when things are going right. It's in how quietly and courageously you walk away from what's tearing you apart. This message is for anyone who's ever questioned whether they were wrong for choosing peace over pleasing others. For anyone who's ever sat in silence, second-guessing whether they were overreacting, being too sensitive, or expecting too much. For those who've tolerated disrespect because they were afraid of losing someone, or worse, afraid of being alone. You are not alone. You are not crazy. And you are not wrong for wanting a life that feels safe, calm, and true. We live in a world that romanticizes loyalty even when it hurts. We're told to forgive and forget, to keep the peace, to be the bigger person. But at what cost? At the cost of your peace, your mental clarity, your emotional well-being? Let's be honest. Sometimes, the bigger person is the one who walks away. Ladies and gentlemen, today is about reclaiming your power. It's about realizing that your time, energy, and spirit are not community property. They are sacred. And the more you allow toxic people to trample through your life unchecked, the more you teach them that your boundaries are flexible and your peace is negotiable. But let me tell you, your peace is not up for debate. Your future is not a place for those who bring you pain. You do not have to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to shrink yourself for people who feel threatened by your light. This journey is about healing. It's about choosing wholeness over history, growth over guilt, freedom over familiarity. And yes, sometimes that means letting go of people you once loved, trusted, or depended on. But this isn't a message about bitterness. This isn't about walking away in anger or closing off your heart. It's about protecting the parts of you that took years to rebuild. It's about honoring the version of you that is finally learning how to prioritize peace. So as we dive into this message, one rooted in truth, strength, and clarity, understand this. Choosing yourself is not selfish. It is sacred. And walking away from toxicity isn't weakness, it's wisdom. This is your permission to put yourself first, to listen to that quiet voice that's been begging you to rise, to reclaim your peace, to reclaim your power, and to never again settle for less than your soul deserves. The power of protecting your peace. There comes a moment in every person's life where you realize something painful yet powerful. You cannot heal, grow, or elevate while you're surrounded by people who are constantly hurting you, draining you, or holding you back. You cannot build a life of peace while living in the middle of emotional chaos. And sometimes, the only way to move forward is to remove toxic people from your life. This is not about being heartless, it's about having heart. For yourself. It's about choosing yourself. Because the truth is, no matter how strong you are, how talented you are, or how big your dreams may be, the people around you will either fuel your fire or extinguish your flame. Toxic people are not always obvious. They're not always loud or aggressive. Sometimes they come disguised as friends, as family, as partners. They smile in your face while planting seeds of doubt behind your back. They act like they care, but they never clap when you win. They pretend to support you, but secretly compete with you. And worst of all, they make you question yourself, your worth, your value, your purpose. You see, toxicity doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It tells you you're not good enough. You'll never make it. You've changed. You're selfish for setting boundaries, and the longer you stay around that energy, the more it poisons your spirit. It starts to chip away at your self-esteem, your clarity, and your peace of mind. Let me tell you something important. You do not have to tolerate behavior that disrespects your soul. You don't owe anyone access to you just because they've known you a long time. History does not equal loyalty. Blood does not always mean family. And time spent doesn't always mean time well invested. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for yourself and even for them is to walk away. You are not cold for cutting off someone who was consistently causing you pain. You are not cruel for choosing distance over disrespect. You are not heartless for refusing to be someone's emotional punching bag. You are wise. You are protecting your peace. And that peace is priceless. Every time you allow toxic people to stay in your life, you're delaying your healing. You're sacrificing your joy. You're limiting your growth. And for what? For guilt? For fear? For the illusion of connection? You can love someone and still let them go. You can forgive someone and still remove them from your space. Love should never come at the cost of your sanity. Start choosing peace over people-pleasing. Start choosing boundaries over burnout. Start choosing yourself, because your future depends on it. This is not just a step toward healing, this is a leap toward your freedom, recognizing the signs of toxic people. Before you can remove toxic people from your life, you have to first recognize who they are. Toxicity isn't always easy to spot, especially when emotions, loyalty, or time are involved. But just because someone has a seat at your table doesn't mean they deserve to eat with you. Sometimes we invite the wrong energy into our lives because we don't see the warning signs soon enough. Or worse, we ignore them. So let's get real. How do you recognize a toxic person? Start by paying attention to how you feel after interacting with them. Do you feel drained, anxious, or small after talking to them? That's not love. That's not friendship. That's emotional warfare dressed in familiarity. Toxic people are often manipulative. They twist your words, guilt trip you, and make you feel responsible for their emotions. You find yourself apologizing for things that aren't your fault, constantly trying to fix the relationship or walking on eggshells just to keep the peace. But real love doesn't require that. Real relationships don't make you feel like you're in a constant state of confusion or self-doubt. Another sign? They constantly criticize you, but never with the intention of helping you grow. Their words are laced with jealousy, comparison, or control. They downplay your success, magnify your flaws, and treat your growth like a threat. They'll say things like, "You've changed," as if evolving is a crime. But change is not the enemy. Their resistance to your growth is. Toxic people thrive on chaos. If you notice that drama follows them everywhere, it's not a coincidence. They create confusion so they can control the narrative. They pit people against each other. They love being the victim in every story, never taking responsibility for their own actions. And perhaps the most dangerous trait of all, toxic people rarely change. They make promises, but their actions never align. They'll apologize just enough to stay, but never enough to grow. They expect you to keep forgiving while they keep repeating the same patterns. But you are not a rehabilitation center for broken adults who refuse to fix themselves. Recognizing toxicity also means being honest with yourself. Sometimes we hold on to people because of memories, not reality, because of hope, not truth. But your potential is too precious to be sacrificed on the altar of someone else's dysfunction. Understand this: anyone who costs you your peace is too expensive to keep. It doesn't matter if it's a friend you've known since childhood, a partner you thought was your forever, or even a family member. Toxicity has no place in your future. You have every right to remove anything and anyone that disturbs your mental, emotional, or spiritual well-being. You deserve relationships that uplift you, people who speak life into your vision, connections that inspire your best self, not keep you trapped in your worst. Recognizing toxic people is the first step, removing them is the next, and reclaiming your power, that's where your true healing begins. The courage to let go. Letting go of toxic people isn't just an action, it's an act of courage. It's a bold statement that says, I value my peace more than I fear being alone. And that's not easy, because the truth is many of us stay connected to toxic people not because we want to, but because we're afraid of the silence that follows their absence. We fear the loneliness, the change, the discomfort of starting over. But growth never happens inside your comfort zone. And healing doesn't happen while you're still holding hands with the people who hurt you. Letting go means you stop chasing closure from those who gave you chaos. It means you accept that you may never get the apology, the explanation, or the accountability that you deserve. And that's okay. Because closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. You don't need their validation to move on. You need your own permission to protect your peace. Now listen, some toxic people won't leave quietly. When you start to pull away, they'll sense your strength and they'll try to reel you back in. They'll use guilt. They'll remind you of the good times. They'll promise they've changed. But don't let temporary kindness distract you from a pattern of disrespect. People will act confused when you stop tolerating what they were comfortable doing to you. That's not your problem. You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation for choosing yourself. Sometimes, the most powerful response is silence. Block the number. Mute the notifications. Stop opening doors that were never meant to lead you forward. Letting go also requires emotional discipline, because even after you remove them, the memories might still hurt. The mind may replay moments that make you smile. But don't confuse a few good memories with a healthy connection. You can remember the lesson without reopening the wound. And remember this, you are not responsible for saving people who continuously drown you. You are not weak for walking away. You are strong for choosing your sanity over suffering. You are wise for realizing that not every relationship deserves a front row seat in your life. Letting go isn't about hate, it's about healing. It's about making space for the right people to enter. The ones who love you with respect, not control. The ones who support your growth, not sabotage it. The ones who bring you peace, not problems. So take a deep breath and release what's been weighing you down. You are not here to carry emotional baggage that doesn't belong to you. You are here to rise, to evolve, to create a life that reflects the love, clarity, and strength you deserve. Letting go is hard, but staying stuck in a toxic cycle is harder. Choose freedom, choose peace, choose you, reclaiming your peace and power. Now that you've made the decision to remove toxic people from your life, it's time to reclaim your peace and power. Because healing isn't just about walking away, it's about walking forward. It's about rebuilding the parts of yourself that were torn down by constant negativity, manipulation, and emotional chaos. When you remove toxicity, you make space for clarity. You start hearing your own voice again, not the voice that was silenced by criticism or gaslighted into doubt, but the voice that knows what you deserve. The voice that tells you you're worthy of respect, of genuine love, of friendships and relationships that uplift you instead of drain you. You begin to feel lighter, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. The anxiety starts to fade. The constant second guessing starts to vanish. You sleep better, you think clearer. You're no longer walking on eggshells or rehearsing your every word to avoid conflict. That's the power of peace. And you'll realize how rare and precious it is once you have it. But reclaiming your peace also means doing some inner work. It means forgiving yourself for the times you allowed people to stay longer than they should have. It means acknowledging the red flags you ignored, not to shame yourself, but to grow wiser and stronger. You were learning, you were trying, you were doing the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. Now that you're in a new season, it's time to set firm boundaries. Not walls to shut everyone out, but healthy boundaries that protect your energy, your time, and your heart. Say no without guilt. Speak your truth without fear. Surround yourself with people who make you feel safe to be exactly who you are. And don't rush to fill the space left behind by toxic people. Solitude is not emptiness, it's preparation. It's in that quiet space that you rediscover your passions, your values, your confidence. You find out what you actually enjoy without someone else controlling your choices or opinions. You reconnect with your dreams and start building a life that reflects your true self. Reclaiming your power also means being intentional about who you now allow into your circle. Energy is contagious, so choose people who reflect the energy you want to maintain. Those who inspire you, support you, and challenge you to be better without tearing you down. And finally, remember this, removing toxic people doesn't make you bitter. It makes you better. It doesn't mean you're heartless. It means you have a heart worth protecting. You can still wish people well from a distance. You can still let go with love, but you must always choose your peace over their presence. This is your life. You don't owe it to anyone to stay in places that hurt. You owe it to yourself to grow, to thrive, and to create the kind of environment where your soul can breathe. Walk forward with strength. You've earned your peace. Now protect it. Let's take a moment to breathe. A deep, intentional breath. Not just to end this message, but to mark a new beginning. A moment to honor the decision that may be forming in your heart right now. The decision to finally let go. You've walked through every word of this message not just because it sounded good, but because something in your soul resonated. You've seen the warning signs. You've felt the weight of toxicity. You've been drained, silenced, overlooked, and mistreated. And still, you've kept giving, hoping and forgiving. But now, something is shifting. You're realizing that you deserve more. You're remembering who you are. And that, my friend, is the beginning of your freedom. Letting go of toxic people is not about winning or losing. It's not about revenge or resentment. It's about choosing your peace over your past. It's about saying, I will no longer abandon myself to keep someone else comfortable. It's a choice to walk away, not because you're weak, but because you're finally strong enough to stop settling. Understand this, walking away doesn't mean you didn't care, it doesn't mean you didn't try, it doesn't make you cold, it makes you conscious. Conscious of your worth, conscious of your energy, conscious of the kind of life you want to build, one where love is healthy, respect is mutual, and peace is permanent. There will be moments when the silence feels heavy, when you question whether you made the right choice, when the past comes knocking and nostalgia tries to trick you into opening doors that nearly destroyed you. But don't mistake comfort for compatibility. Don't confuse missing someone with needing them. Healing isn't linear, but it is necessary. You deserve relationships that nourish your soul, not drain it. You deserve to be surrounded by people who celebrate your growth, not feel threatened by it. You deserve to be loved out loud, not tolerated in silence. So what do you do now? You rebuild. Slowly. Intentionally. You protect your peace like it's sacred. Because it is. You choose solitude over settling. You fill your space with light, joy, purpose, and people who pour into you. And most importantly, you never again apologize for choosing you. Today, you've been reminded that your power lies in your choices, in your ability to walk away from what no longer serves you and walk toward the life you were meant to live, a life of clarity, of confidence, of true connection. So, hold your head high, not because everything is perfect, but because you are finally brave enough to let go of what was never meant for you. You are not behind.